What is up, everybody? How's it going? Austin prechtelevate Performance, coming at you live. Happy Thursday, everybody. Hope you are having a good day so far. We're going to get this kicked off here in just a second. Today, we are going to be talking about how the perfect time does not exist to start your journey, because it's true. The perfect time really doesn't exist. You can start literally at any point. It's just a matter of deciding to make that change for yourself and to take the plunge into your own journey. A lot of people right now, maybe your 2022 did not start off on the right foot how you wanted it to. But at the end of the day, right? January 1st is just a freaking day of the year. Yes, it's an opportunity to set goals for a year. It's an opportunity to structure what you want for yourself and to set your goals and aspirations. But today is just as good a day as January 1st is. It's just not as uh, you know, I don't know, glorified in the like public mind, I guess. So that's what we're gonna be talking about today, is because maybe your 2022 didn't start off on the right foot. Maybe you were busy. Maybe you were moving like we were. Maybe maybe you were sick. Some people came into 2022 being sick. I have friends that got COVID coming into 2022. What a freaking way to set the tone for your year, right? And that's okay if you got sick, or it's okay if you're got in a fight with your significant other that day, or whatever it may be, or maybe you're not in a good place mentally right now. Hello, that's me, and that's okay, right? And that's okay. That shit kind of happens, and as long as we're honest with ourselves and we're transparent with what we want, right? And as long as we don't give up and we don't stop wanting those things for ourselves, and we don't stop creating those opportunities for ourselves, we're going to get there. And so, what I want to talk about today is why the perfect moment does not exist. Because a lot of times, people won't start their journey because they're waiting for that special day or that special moment or that next chapter of their lives that they expect to happen. And then maybe that next chapter does happen, right? But oftentimes, even when it does, it's not what we pictured it to be, right? A lot of times we romanticize these things in our minds when it comes to starting our journey, when it comes to starting a weight loss journey or a fitness journey, or we're just like, once I move, or once I get out of this place, or once I finish college, or once I get married, or once I have my kid, or once my kid gets to this grade in school, like that's gonna be my opportunity. That's gonna be the time to strike. And guys, like that shit does not those perfect opportunities don't exist. They really don't exist. What actually happens is that we create these opportunities. We make the decision to actually start on our goals, because it's not like the movies. Real life is not like the movies, because oftentimes you see in movies all the time, like this perfect moment happens, this cinematic masterpiece of a moment where it's all romanticized and everything, and people feel like that's how it is for relationships when they're starting a relationship, or when they're starting their fitness journey, or whenever they're gonna have kids and all. And yes, there are these inklings of moments and things like that where life is beautiful and life is like this, like is like a movie sometimes. But it is very, very rare that that is actually like that. And for like 99% of people who start their fitness journey, it just starts on a normal day. It starts on an average freaking day, and it starts on a normal day, just like everybody, like every other day. But just on that day, somebody decides to make a change for themselves. They make the decision, and oftentimes it comes after a breaking point. Oftentimes it comes from a point of where you're just like I can't handle this shit anymore. I don't want to like be like this anymore. I don't want to feel like this anymore. I'm tired of looking in the mirror. Like, it just comes to a breaking point for some people where they finally do make that decision. And I hope that for a lot of people that go through are in a position right now where they do want to get to a better place, that they do make that decision for themselves before it comes to that point. But sometimes you got to crack a few eggs, make an omelet, right? And so it's one of those situations where, sometimes that's just part of life and part of the process for yourself. I'm encouraging you right now, don't let it get to that point, right? Don't let it get to that point for yourself and for your own journey, and actually make that decision, because you can make that decision today. Life is not like the movies. A fitness journey is not like the movies, oftentimes. And what ends up happening, and what people need to understand, and what they actually want to do and hope and want to achieve in their journeys, is like, guys, you got to take action, right? You got to take action, and over time opportunities will arise. We create our own opportunities. A lot of times people are like, oh my gosh, like they're so lucky. They're doing what they're doing. Oh my gosh, they're so lucky to have that body. Oh my gosh, they're so lucky to be in that relationship. Oh my gosh, they're like, people oftentimes like to play things off as being like luck, right? Or like primarily luck oriented. And I just want to be honest with you guys, like luck isn't like it's a thing, but like real luck, like true luck is such a rare occurrence in life that it's not even funny. Like luck in general, how people think of it as isn't really a real thing. Like we create our own luck, and it just seems like luck, or whatever to people on the outside, right? On the outside looking in. Luck is what oftentimes, and I like to kind of think of it this way, is like luck is what people who don't take action use to validate or like justify their own lack of forward progress, right? Let me say that again. What people say and use as luck in general, right? Luck is what people who don't take action use to validate their own lack of forward progress, right? Or to justify it, right? Why is so and so better off than I am right now? It must be luck, right? Why is so and so like a famous like whatever like writer or whatever? Must be luck, right? No, like those people have been putting in the time. They've been putting in the reps consistently, day in, day out. And yes, maybe like one in like a million people will get lucky and win the freaking lottery, or run into like a famous celebrity and that gives them their big break or whatever. But a lot of times those people are seeking those opportunities in the first place, right? Somebody doesn't just win the lottery randomly, like, right? Like they unless somebody buys them a ticket. But even then, that person got that ticket bought for them because they were nice, or because they've been creating a relationship with that person for a really long time. Like everything in one way or another adds up to be a result of the actions that you take on a daily basis. A lot of times people are like, I've had people say like, oh my gosh, like you and Jessica are so lucky that you found each other, and it's like, yes, right, there are some things at play, some forces at play that you know caused our relationship to exist in the first place, like me being afraid to like fly at that time and like be driving across country, and then I randomly met her like one of my first nights in the state of Oregon and all this other stuff, and it's like, yes, those are like, that's lucky, but we hit it off really well, and like we matched up really well with each other and things like that. And like a big reason why that is the case is because like I'm a very social person. Like I have, like, for my whole life, like I've like worked on things in my life that make me a very social person in general. And and we're both very science oriented, and that was something that we really kicked off with and talked about like whenever we first met. And it's like, we both didn't just become very like into science and like and be very like scientifically I don't know, like prominent or whatever, like really into that kind of stuff and understand that and really vibe with each other in that way. That didn't happen by luck. That happened because we both went to school for like 6+ years and got like college educations in biology and things like that. Like there's not like luck is not really like that much of a thing. So like, if somebody says that you're lucky, oftentimes, it's because you have something that they want that they haven't like worked for yet in a sense, or they don't know how to work towards it yet in a sense. And so, you know, don't wait for those opportunities to arise. You have to create those opportunities for yourself. And so oftentimes there's usually people in two categories, right? Right? Either you have too much hustle and not enough patience, which oftentimes results in people wanting things now and faster than than realistically can be accomplished. Which that can be its own bad thing in a sense as well. But they have the hustle, right? They want it. They're working for it. They're like, I'm working hard. I'm ready for it. Why am I not getting the results, right? Like they're trying to create the opportunities. They're just not patient enough for the opportunities to come to them, right? Or to flesh themselves out from the hard work that they're putting in day in day out. And then you've got the other category of people, right, who have too much patience and not enough hustle, right? You're too patient. You're waiting for these opportunities to develop and create themselves because you're like, it'll happen to me one day. I'm gonna meet that perfect guy. I'm gonna meet that perfect girl. And they're gonna they're gonna change my life. I'm gonna have that perfect opportunity arise where the stars are gonna align and my fitness journey is just gonna happen for me. I'm waiting for it. right? I'm gonna manifest it, right? No, like you manifest things by actually taking action, by actually like setting goals and taking it day by day with with consistent action over time. That's how it works. That's how you reach your goals. And people who have too much patience and not enough hustle, this is primarily what I'm talking about. This live about is for you, because you need to quit sitting on the sideline. You need to quit procrastinating. You need to quit saying that it's gonna happen, like it's gonna happen eventually, but you're saying that you want something, but your actions are saying something otherwise, right? You have to put time in. You have to take action on a daily basis. Otherwise, you're not going to get closer to your goals. Your opportunities will create themselves. Okay, your opportunities will create themselves, or your opportunities will create themselves when you take the action that you know that you need to take. So, at the end of the day, right? Like, what are you doing today? Ask yourself this: what are you doing today that's going to get you one step closer to your goals? Right? Maybe it's starting. Right? Today is as any good a day as ever to start. Right? It really is. And you know, oftentimes whenever I'm talking to clients or I'm talking to people who have had successful journeys, right? Most of the time, they just came to a point where they said, I just decided to start one day. All right. I just decided to start one day. It wasn't, oh my gosh, the stars aligned and I had this next chapter of my life and it was perfect. It was just the perfect opportunity. Like, no, like those very, very, very rarely fall into your lap. Like they really do. And most of the time they fall into your lap because you've been doing things on a regular basis that allowed it to fall into your lap in a sense. And so, most of the time the people that I talk to, they just decided to start. And so I encourage you, today could be that day for you. So just decide to start. Take action, create those opportunities for yourself. You won't regret it. Like nobody ever regrets working towards their goals, right? Like nobody ever regrets trying to start. And just prepare for it to be, for it to take longer than you expect it to. And that's okay, right? That's why it's a journey. That's why we're doing lifestyle changes. And if you really want it to be a lifestyle change and you don't want to just lose 5 pounds just to gain it back again, like a couple of weeks later, like then this is the mentality that you need to take into your fitness journey. So, other than that, though, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hope that this was valuable. Hope that this was helpful. Let me know your number one takeaway in the comments down below. Feel free to give this video a like so other people get the chance to see it. I hope that this, kind of maybe may have been a little eye opening for you to get started. To start, just because you missed out on January 1st doesn't mean you can't start today. Just because you started on January 1st and you already quit 3 days later, and now you're like reconciling and like wishing that you hadn't quit, you can start again. There's no reason why you can't start back up. So I encourage you, get back at it. You guys have got this shit. And yeah, if you watch this later time, hashtag replay so I know that you saw it. And I will talk to you all later. Bye, guys.